Tomorrow is going to be a very important and interesting day for the stock market. Why? Because we have the CPI data. And just by looking at the price action we saw on the entire US markets today, things are not just quite as good as we want them to be, because the CPI data is going to be released tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Central, so 1 hour prior to the market opening. And you can see here Dow skates more than 600 points as stocks fall ahead of key inflation number. As you can see here, we almost closed at an average of 2% in the red, but there is an expectation that the inflation is going to still remain relatively high, around 8.7%. Why? Because last month, we're going to look at the month of May, but the last CPI was for the month of April. And for the month of April, inflation looked like we were having a little bit of a decline. All right, we're having a little bit of a decline. But tomorrow, the consumer price index is expected to show a 0.7% increase when the report is released on Friday morning. And this is more than double the gain in the prior month. Because in April, the yearly rate fell for the first time in 8 months to 8.3%. So even if we get something around, the 8.4%, which will be the equivalent of this, monthly increase, it's still in line with the 8.3, 8.5%. So I don't think the market will be totally in a puke mode if we have something around the 8.4%, because it's still, it's still in line. And don't kid ourselves. If you look at oil is still very expensive, actually now trading at $120 a barrel. If you look at food, those have not gone down. As a matter of fact, they have gone up. And I said this many times till the war began. Until the conflict in Ukraine, it settled down. Even if supply chain issues and bottleneck are smoothing, as we have some indications now, we're still going to have high food and high energy. And only those two are enough to maintain the CPI data and inflation and high prices as per the consumer still very high. All right. So I'm not expecting otherwise miracle or otherwise, something very good news comes into the play when it comes to the number for tomorrow, but I don't really see inflation going down anytime soon before maybe the next 2-3 reports, because by then the shift that we're seeing now from inflation in goods, people are shifting from buying goods because you can only buy this much stuff. You can only buy 1 or 2 computers, you can only buy 1 or 2 phones, you can only buy 1 or 2 clothing, shoes, whatever, right? So now people are shifting to services like travel, cruise lines, not that much, a lot of gasoline consumption when it comes to trip, especially as we are now entering the summer season. So that will, even though some of the prices in goods are shifting, that inflation is going from goods to services, which is not ultimately solving, the equation which we all want inflation to start going down rapidly. But even though it will still remain high, I don't see any, major surprise tomorrow. But I could be wrong, and I would love to be wrong, because if we have a surprise that inflation has really, started peaking, then the market is going to definitely rally. All right. But I didn't take any profit based on some of the, gains that I had for the last 2 weeks, because 90% of my portfolio, whether it's investing, whether it's swing trading, whether it's day trading, is entirely made of oil energy companies, oil and gas / energy companies. And those have skyrocketed. And they are still very cheap based on what the current price of oil are. So based on that, I am not, kind of phased. I'm not concerned about whether or not CPI is bad or no, because we are entering the bullish phase. The bullish season for those stocks anyway. So, and 5% of my, the remaining 5%, I should say 95% was energy, and the remaining 5% is really comprised onto, slight tech, in companies like Palantir, and the remaining are just in crypto. So I'm not phasing, because crypto today did not phase at all. We usually have crypto skidding a lot in a tandem with the stocks, but today we didn't have that, so if you look at the crypto here, Bitcoin, Ethereum barely moved. So I wouldn't expect, see that they barely moved. So I wouldn't expect to see something dramatically changing, the current short term based on the CPI data, unless, as I mentioned, we have a major, good or even bad surprise, so yeah, something to definitely keep in mind. But if you want to keep invested in the market, which I believe we should all be, depending on, long term, at least medium term, because this whole thing around inflation is going to pass as well. And once it does, then the market is going to continue its bull run. But you don't want to miss that bull run because you were sitting on the sidelines to wait when things will get better. Because by the time things are getting better, you're already losing a ton of money to be made, on the table. So we'll just see how things go tomorrow, and we'll take it from there.